Triple H's nuclear option, OPA Femi and Brock Lesnar chained together for WrestleMania contract signing. Triple H just looked every single person in that building dead in the face, every fan, every executive, every wrestler in that locker room, and made it absolutely, brutally clear that he is done playing games. Because what the game just orchestrated for this WrestleMania contract signing isn't just a stipulation. It isn't just a segment. It is a declaration of war against chaos itself. He chained OPA Femi and Brock Lesnar together. Physically. Literally. Like animals. And the moment those chains locked around their wrists, something primal, something genuinely dangerous, was unleashed in that building that no amount of security, referees, or authority figures could contain. You think you've seen contract signings before? You have seen nothing. Because what Triple H just didn't just sign a match, it ignited a powder keg with a 1-inch fuse, and WrestleMania is the explosion. Let's talk about why Triple H was forced to go nuclear. Because nothing happens in a vacuum, and the road that led to this moment is paved with broken tables, scattered papers, and the kind of escalating violence that made even the most hardened veterans in that locker room step back and genuinely question whether this rivalry had gone somewhere beyond the realm of storytelling. Cast your mind back to every single contract signing, every face-to-face, every in-ring confrontation between OPA Femi and Brock Lesnar over the past several weeks. Not one of them made it to completion. Not one. Every single time WWE attempted to put these two men in the same space with a pen, a table, and a piece of paper, it ended in absolute, magnificent devastation. The first attempt, tables flipped, Heyman nearly trampled, security overwhelmed in under 30 seconds. The second attempt, OPA Femi arrived with such calculated menace that Brock Lesnar, launched a preemptive assault before the contract even hit the table. The third attempt never even got off the ground because Lesnar destroyed the set during soundcheck like some kind of territorial apex predator marking his domain. 3 attempts. 3 catastrophic failures. And every single time, WrestleMania, the most important event on the entire WWE calendar, hung in the balance because two immovable forces refused to exist in the same space without trying to annihilate each other. So Triple H made a decision. And when Triple H makes a decision from that office, you feel it in your bones. He didn't call a press conference. He didn't send a memo. He walked out onto that stage personally, the game himself, the architect of the modern WWE, the man who built the machine, and he addressed the entire roster, the entire audience, and the entire world watching at home with the kind of quiet, steel-edged authority that reminds you exactly why this man ran this industry for decades as a performer before he ever put on a suit. He said, and I want you to feel every word of this: I have tried patience. I have tried process. I have tried giving two grown men the opportunity to handle their business professionally. That time is over. At the contract signing, OPA Femi and Brock Lesnar will be bound together physically, inescapably, until every line of that contract is signed. You want to be animals? Fine. We'll treat you like animals. The arena detonated. And somewhere backstage, two of the most dangerous men on the planet heard those words and felt something ignite inside them that should terrify every single person who has to be in that building on signing night. Now let's talk about the sheer psychological genius and simultaneous madness of this stipulation, because it cuts both ways like a razor, and Triple H knows exactly what he's done here. For Brock Lesnar, being chained to another human being is the closest thing to a personal nightmare you can construct for him. Brock Lesnar's entire aura, his entire mythology, is built on the idea of uncontained, unstoppable force. He goes where he wants. He destroys what he wants. He leaves when he wants. The F5, his signature weapon, requires space, leverage, and freedom of movement. Chain him to OPA Femi and you don't just limit him physically, you attack the very foundation of his psychological dominance. You cage the beast. And a caged beast, as any rational human being should understand, does not become less dangerous. It becomes desperate. Frantic. And desperate. Brock Lesnar with a chain in his hand and fury in his eyes is something that should be studied as a genuine public safety concern. But here's the other edge of that razor, and this is where it gets truly fascinating, because for OPA Femi, this stipulation is its own unique brand of psychological warfare. The ruler is a man defined by his autonomy, by his control, by the deliberate, measured, king-like composure that separates him from every other powerhouse in WWE today. OPA Femi doesn't brawl. He doesn't scramble. He operates on his terms, in his time, with the patience of a chess grandmaster who has already seen 12 moves ahead. Chain him to Brock Lesnar, a human hurricane who operates on pure, explosive instinct, and you've yanked the ruler out of his comfort zone and into the chaos he has always so expertly avoided. Triple H, whether consciously or by sheer strategic brilliance, has created a situation where both men are simultaneously disadvantaged and empowered in ways neither of them have ever experienced before. And that is why the contract signing isn't just a segment. It is a psychological pressure test with the intensity dialed up to 11, with a chain connecting two loaded weapons, and with the entire world watching to see which one breaks first. Because here's what nobody is asking loudly enough yet, and we're going to ask it right now on this channel: what happens when the chain becomes the weapon? Think about it. You have a length of heavy chain. You have Brock Lesnar, a man who once used a steel chair like a paintbrush and left a canvas of destruction behind. You have Femi, a man with the physical tools and the cold-blooded composure to turn any object, any environment, any circumstance into an advantage. The moment that first punch is thrown and a punch is coming, we all know a punch is coming. The chain transforms from a restraint into the most dangerous weapon in the building. Wrapped around a fist, it's a brass knuckle the size of your forearm. Swung with intent, it's a medieval weapon in a modern arena. Pulled suddenly, it becomes the setup for something even more devastating. Triple H may have thought he was controlling the situation. What he may have actually done is handed two predators a weapon and locked them in a room together. The signing itself, even before a single chair gets thrown, before a single drop of blood is drawn, before Paul Heyman inevitably says something from the outside of the chain that accelerates everything into pandemonium, is already being discussed as a must-see television moment for the ages. People are clearing their schedules. People are calling their friends. People who haven't watched wrestling in years are being texted about this segment by fans who know in their gut that what is about to happen is not just a wrestling angle. It is an event. And then there's the contract itself to consider. Because buried in the paperwork that Triple H is requiring both men to sign is apparently a clause, and our sources within WWE programming have been very clear about this, a clause that escalates the WrestleMania stipulation significantly beyond what was originally announced. We are not going to spoil the full details because, frankly, part of what makes this story so incredible is the journey, and we want you to be in that arena physically or emotionally when those details are revealed. But what we can tell you is that whatever Triple H has added to that contract has the potential to transform what was already the most anticipated match of WrestleMania into something that will be referenced in wrestling documentaries 20 years from now. The stakes just got bigger. The chain just got shorter. And two of the most dangerous men on this planet are about to be forced to sit across a table from each other and put pen to paper while physically tethered together like gladiators waiting for the gate to open. Let's talk about Femi for one more moment, because the ruler's journey to this specific WrestleMania moment deserves its full recognition. This is a man who arrived in WWE and was immediately categorized by some observers, by some so-called experts, as a physical specimen with potential. A project. Someone to watch in a few years. And Femi systematically, methodically, and with almost insulting ease dismantled every single limitation that was placed on his ceiling. He didn't wait for his moment. He manufactured his moments. He walked into spaces he wasn't invited to and made them his. He spoke with an authority that wasn't borrowed, it was earned, in real time, in front of the entire world. And now here he stands, on the eve of WrestleMania, chained to the most decorated, most feared, most mythological figure in the modern era of professional wrestling, and by every account from everyone who has seen him up close, he is the calmest man in the building. That is terrifying. That should concern all of us. Because calm in the face of Brock Lesnar isn't confidence. It's certainty. And a man who is certain he is going to dismantle you is the most dangerous kind of opponent that has ever existed in any combat sport, real or performed. Brock Lesnar, on the other side of this, is operating on a frequency of rage that has reportedly been building backstage for weeks. The humiliation of being knocked down on live television by the ruler hasn't faded. It has fermented. It has turned into something darker and more volatile than simple professional rivalry. This is personal for the beast in a way that very few things ever have been. And Lesnar, when it becomes personal, when the professional mask slips and the genuine fury underneath is unleashed, that is when the most legendary, most brutal moments of his career have happened. WrestleMania was already going to be extraordinary. Triple H just poured gasoline on the entire structure, handed Femi and Brock Lesnar a lit match each, chained them together at the wrist, and said with the serene confidence of a man who either knows exactly how this ends or genuinely doesn't care, sign the contract. The beast is furious. The ruler is ready. The chain is waiting. And WrestleMania will never, ever be the same. Drop a comment right now. Are you riding with Femi the ruler, or do you think Brock Lesnar uses the chain to remind everyone exactly why he is the beast incarnate? Share this video immediately. Every wrestling fan you know needs to see this breakdown before the signing happens. Subscribe to Wrestling News CC because this story is accelerating by the hour, and we are your fastest, most reliable source for every single development. The ruler. The beast. One chain. One contract. One WrestleMania.